like some of my guests. What's up?
What's going on?
How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Good. Life is good. Just got home from doing some stuff for work.
Nice. Thank you so much for joining me, my brother.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good.
You heard about Dolly Parton?
Yeah, yeah. I heard about that. 80 years old. That's still young, man.
It is. I
Yeah.
know. It's
Put
so
things
sad.
put things into perspective. Like my grandmother, she's 94, and that's that's why I say 80 is still pretty young.
I was gonna bring that up. How is your grandmother?
She unfortunately she's in hospice. So I went back to New Orleans about 2 weeks ago. My brother and we went to go see her, and she's in good spirit, but we can tell that we're at peace at her state.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's beautiful that you were able to see her. And I wish the best for her, obviously. Some people may not know you are actually a twin, is that right?
Oh yeah, I got an identical twin brother. It's crazy. Yeah.
Nice.
He's an engineer. He does aerospace technology. Two different spectrums as far as we talk about work, but we're very close. We talk every day. And I have a beautiful niece. Him and his wife had a baby girl like a year and a half ago, and man, she has blue green eyes. Just insane how beautiful she is. She kind of looks like my mom a little bit, but yeah, man, they're doing great. I'm very proud of them.
Speaking of your mom, I mentioned in the teaser about this conversation when we met on Notorious. Now I count 13 years. We've been friends for 13 years now, right?
Probably so. Yeah.
Think
Wow.
about that.
Long time. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things that like really, bonded me to you quickly was your name, because I was
Mm.
like, oh wow, Augustine, that's cool. But also, you telling me that you had recently lost your mom. And I
Yeah.
think you were the same age that I was when I lost my mom. And as I said in that thing, I did feel like this heavenly connection of our mothers conspiring to put
To
us
bring us
together.
together. Oh,
Exactly.
that's amazing. Yeah. I was 23. My
And
mom,
that's exactly how old I was when my mother died.
man, honestly, we're still kids at 23, man.
Yeah.
And my mom passed. It was that year that followed was very hard for me. I went back to New Orleans, took care of her estate, and I went back to New York, and it was tough, man. So anybody who lost a parent, a loved one, I think anyone who's been through that experience can really understand what you're going through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you went through a process of that
Mm.
whole sort of grief counseling, if you don't mind. I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah. I went to counseling. I went to therapy. Then I went to grief therapy, and honestly, group counseling, it really opened my eyes. It put me into a different perspective, realizing that everybody goes through different things in life, different hardships, different adversity, and it made me appreciate what I have in life, and also it made me appreciate other people's feelings, and it really instilled this quality of having um, empathy for people that I didn't have before.
mm,
Just hearing other people's situations, it kind of opened my eyes, and I'm really really grateful for that. And I always say this: like people who dealing with um, whether it's mental issues or grief or anything you're going through, seek out professional help. That's the only advice I can really give you. You know what I mean?
that's amazing advice. That's really
Mhm.
great. So when we met in Atlanta, and you were living in Atlanta at the time, right?
No, I was in New York.
Oh, you were living in New York, but you were a local hire, right?
Yeah. I auditioned for the show in New York, but I told them I was a local hire, and I was flying back and forth, living in my. I was at my cousin Kirby's house. I'm so grateful for her. She let me stay at her house whenever I was in town, and then I was there for a little stint though. I think for like 6 months I was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, waiting to see if Notorious gonna bring me back for more episodes. And I was bartending at a bar out there, doing my thing, trying to make it as a struggling actor.
Amazing. So had you already decided that you were going to try to find a mentor, or did you have one already? What was your thought process about that?
So when I first moved to New York, I met my godmother, Jackie Lee. I think you met Jackie.
I did.
And Jackie was like, you know what, Derek, you're gonna have to find a mentor, someone's older than you, that's successful in the industry, and that can really, guide you in the right direction, preferably a male. And preferably a black male, because we have our own struggles in this industry. And I remember trying to find a mentor in New York. None of these men would give me a chance. I don't know why. I get it, actually, I don't get it, because I'm not going to be like that when I become well established and an older gentleman. I'm going to always try to give back. But when I met you, man, it was, I don't know, like you said, I think our moms kind of conspired to put us together. I think we gravitated well because we were on this show. You're the only black man on the show that I work with. I know Daniel was on the show too, but I didn't work with Daniel.
Right.
So when we met, we didn't even meet on set, right? We
No,
met.
we didn't. No, we met on Instagram.
Yeah, I think I sent you a message like, "Hey, I'm on Notorious too, and I would love to. I'm looking for a mentor." And man, you took me in, man, with open arms, and I'm so appreciative of that, big bro. I really am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And the reason I did that, though, was because uh, aside from the fact that I did feel, our mother's presence, but at that stage of my career and still, I just saw a lot of black men in the business getting these life-changing opportunities and kind of messing them up because of maybe something that they weren't being told or something that wasn't being shared with them. And at that time, also, my accountant started asking me to speak to his black male clients who he found were, being a little irresponsible financially.
Right.
So I just felt like this, and also people had done it for me. There's Eric LaSalle, there's Michael Beats, there's Don Cheadle. And I even remember having a sort of life-changing conversation with Isaiah Washington even. So that was a lot of my motivation for wanting to take you on as a mentee. What did you expect from the relationship?
I didn't even know what to expect. This is my first time being a mentee and having a mentor. I honestly just wanted to be guided by an older black man. I don't know how that looked. I didn't know what entailed by that. I know I was looking for somebody who was successful in the industry who could guide me in the right direction, and not looking for a handout. I didn't
Right.
never once ask you, can you hook me up with your agent, a
Right.
lawyer, whoopty woo. It was a genuine connection. I think you know what too, that goes back to my background and being from New Orleans, being a genuine person, and because you can't fake that, you know what I mean. So I don't know, and also I think I never had a big bro before, and my father passed away when I was young. Maybe I was looking for that big brother connection that I didn't have, that I desperately needed at that young age. Because at 23, 24, you're still a kid. I don't care what nobody says, you're still a kid.
Definitely. Agree. What would you say you've gotten from our relationship?
Man, what haven't I gotten, man? Great advice. I've gotten this feel that I always have a big bro to look up to that I can call. I call you it's, most of the time when I call you, pick up, man. It's not just, we don't just talk about work. We talk about life. We talk about finances. We talk about my relationships. You know what I mean? We talk about our moms. We talk about what you got going on. So a part of that was like I was looking for somebody to connect to, not just in resourcefully, but dealing with life. You know what I mean? I got to go to your wedding. You know what I mean? And I've met a lot of your friends. I've met a lot of your associates, and vice versa. You know what I mean? You met some of my family members, my my godmother,
Yep.
my friends.
Your brother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was a mutual type of thing that I honestly I didn't know what I was looking for to answer your question, but it turned out perfectly.
Amazing. Awesome. So one of the things I think that has made this mentorship very successful is two things. One of the things is that you primarily took responsibility for maintaining the relationship, which was important to me, obviously, because I needed somebody who was as in it and as committed as I was, right?
Hmm.
So you would ask me to smoke a cigar, knowing that that is something that I love to do.
Yes.
And you just did a really great job of, like, as you said, you had no expectations. You didn't have your hand out. You contributed so much to the relationship. What advice would you have for somebody who's looking for a mentor?
That's a good question. I would say don't, like I answered before, don't go into this. mentor-mentee relationship expecting a handout. You got to know that, your mentor worked his behind off or her behind off to get where they're at. So they're not just going to give you a handout. They're not just going to give you a resource if you haven't worked for it. They might give you, they might look out for you when you feel like they've gained your trust and they feel like you've worked for it. And, I mean, you know, my work ethic. And I think
I
that
do.
contributes to the trust that and bond that we have.
And I would say that
And
is number two. Yep, that's the second reason. Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
and also, I don't know, be as interested in them as they are at, I don't know, with you. That's how I feel. Make it
Yeah, that's
genuine. Make it
good.
genuine, man. And it's hard. Being at the point of my life right now. If people come up to me asking for a mentor or menteeship, I'm like, man, do you want it? Am I wasting my time? Like, is this gonna waste my time? You know what I mean? If I'm gonna steer you on this direction, are you gonna detour? I mean, I detour sometimes too, but it's not drastic. I'm not, doing things that's gonna be like, oh man, I'm disowning him as a mentor. You know what I mean? So I would say those are the things that, if you really truly are genuinely looking for a mentor, approach it in that essence. Just make it be genuine.
Yeah, that's really great advice. And as you brought up, I would say the number two thing that has made this a successful mentor-mentee relationship is your work ethic.
Hmm.
You blew me away several times with how hard you worked. Okay.
Hmm.
One of the moments that I found I was so impressed with you was after having series regulars on Godfather of Harlem, on All American, working at a very high level, when the work slowed down, you had
Hmm.
no shame or no fear about going back to being a DoorDash driver.
Oh yeah, I was delivering food on my when I was struggling, man. It's crazy when I think we're gonna talk about this, but when I first moved to LA, I was like 24, 25. When did Notorious end? When did it move to LA?
Uh, uh, 2020, I mean, 2013.
I was
Right?
like 24, 20. I was 20. No, I was 23.
Well, it was right after because we shot the pilot in LA, and then
Yep.
3 months later we shot the series. I'm sorry, we shot the pilot in Atlanta. Three
Yeah.
months later, I think we came to LA to shoot the series.
So I moved with it. I was like, they're gonna call me back. I'm moving with it. So I had to be like 24, maybe 24. So I've
That
been
feels right.
in LA for like 13 years now.
Yeah, that feels
When I
right.
first moved, I was delivering food, and I was a kid, you know what I mean? And I delivered food to Nathan.
Yep.
Nathan Filling, the lead of our show. I think the rookie wasn't on back then. It was on. I think he was doing Castle at
Exactly.
Edge. And I saw him. I was like, hold up. I think he was on Buffy with my mentor, my big bro. And I called you and I was like, I think it's him.
Yep.
I think I went to his house. Like, yeah, it's him. So the next time I delivered food, I told him about you. He was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, good guy." And he tipped me more. That was so funny. But yeah, man, to answer your question, man, I'm a grinder, man. I never asked you for money. I never asked my family for money.
Never.
And this goes back to my hard work. My mom really instilled this work ethic that you gotta work hard for what you want in life. Nobody's gonna give you a handout. And when I graduated from the University of New Orleans, where I studied theater, I remember sitting down with my uncle, and he was just like, "Look, man, you can pursue acting, but nobody gonna help you." So I moved to New York. I was doing sales for an engineering firm. I was bartending sometimes on the weekends. I was going to William Esper Studios. I was going to Negro Ensemble Company. I took classes with Susan Baston. I don't know how I did all that at the young, ripe age of 21, 22, falling
Yeah.
asleep on the subway. But nobody can't say that. Oh, I gave him this. No, I worked my behind off for it, man, and I never went against my morals and values to get where I'm at. And to answer your question, yeah, look, when All American, they didn't bring me back, man. For I did what 2 seasons with them,
Hmm.
as a recurring guest star, and I love that show. Great cast, great crew, but that year, that or a couple months after that, I was like, I'm not dipping into my savings. I'm not depleting the money I've saved. So I was, went back to the grind. I was, I had a hat on, glasses, a mask, and I was delivering food, man, trying to get out the mud. And I think 8 months later, I booked this show on BET, a family business, and then after that came the rookie. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know?
So, and careers go up and down, right? It
Yeah,
just happens to everybody. It's just a reality of being in the business. What advice would you have for somebody whose career might be in a down moment right now?
man. I always knew that I was going to be successful in this industry. And I always had discipline and consistency in my life since I was a kid. You just got to believe it's going to happen, man. You just got to really deep down believe that it's going to happen. I don't care how long it takes. And it was hard. You know, when I hit 30, that was right before, that was after COVID. I
Hmm.
remember when the industry was booming. Remember that?
Hmm. Yes.
And I did Godfather of Harlem. I was on Swagger,
Oh,
and
wow.
I was getting it. It was like work, job after job after job, and then COVID hit. My God, I remember they sent us home from. I was in Richmond, Virginia, working on
Right.
Swagger,
I
and they're
remember
like, "We're
that.
gonna send y'all home for 3 weeks,"
Right.
and this is this thing going on, brother, big bro. They didn't call us back, man, until a year later, and I had to choose between Godfather, Harlem, and Swagger, man. And I loved working with Reggie. He's amazing. I worked with his wife, Reggie, uh,
Gina?
yeah,
Yeah.
Gino. I did Cloak and Dagger in New Orleans, so I wanted to go back to I really did. I wanted to go back to Swagger, but Godfather Harlem had me first. So, Louis said we're going to back Godfather Harlem, but it was slow after COVID, man, work was slow, man. And to answer the question, man, I just had faith, this unyielding faith that everything was gonna be all right, man. And I know I had my mom and dad looking down on me, and I was all in at that point. There was no plan B. What was I gonna do? I there's nothing. What was I gonna do, big bro?
Right.
I didn't, yeah. And
You do
so
have an engineering degree, right?
I got a degree in theater, and I got a minor in business and management.
Where'd I get that from? No,
My
your
brother,
brother.
my brother has an engineering degree,
That's right.
so it was like I was all in, and I knew, look, God had my back, and I was just like, God, look, man, you put me on this career path, you put this dream in my heart, and I'm gonna do everything I can to accomplish it, to accomplish it. And I think one of the defining moments in my life, in my career, man, I went to church, and I told God, like, hey, man, I can't do this alone. I can't do this on my own.
Mm.
I need you. I need your help. I need you to step in, and that's when my career kind of started to blossom into this beautiful specimen that it is now. You feel me?
Amen. Yes, I actually want to do an episode about spirituality and the acting world because
Hmm.
I've had, I definitely have relied on God for a lot of my accomplishments as well. But there have been times, I guess I've learned how to pray about things, and usually I'll pray for His will rather than the role that I want because I found
Mm.
that sometimes I stopped this very early in my career, praying for specific roles because sometimes the thing that I would pray for, I would see it later and be like, oh, I see why I didn't get that. I understand why I actually
Hmm.
didn't want that. So I want to do a whole episode about that another time. But another place where your work ethic really shows up is where it counts.
Hmm.
Studying your craft.
Oh
You
yeah.
mentioned Susan Batson. I think when you get to be my age, one of the things that you're going to be able to talk about is that you got to work with some of the great acting teachers of our time. And I would consider Susan Batson to be one of those people. What was it like working with her? For anybody who doesn't know who Susan Batson is, she's this legendary acting teacher out in New York. She was in Spike Lee's Girl Six in the funniest scene I think I've ever seen in my life. But she's just a legendary acting teacher. I took a workshop at her studio that was just one workshop, and it really changed my work. How was it working with Susan Batson?
I took a couple of workshops with her. She she's a very profound, successful, um, kind of over the top, very much so, outspoken, straightforward acting teacher that's been in the business for a long, long time, man. And I remember I walked in this class. I had to give a monologue, and it was about this guy who was this young kid who was drunk. He was in rehab, and he gave this speech. And I walked in there. I had earrings on and a watch. She was like, "What are you doing, boy? This dude would have sold his watch and his earrings for alcohol. You dress too professionally. You gotta be in it." I was like, I think I'm the youngest dude in there, and I'm looking at everybody. I was like, man, what did I walk myself into? You know what I mean? So, man, look, she's old school. You know what I mean? And I've learned valuable lessons from her that probably these new type of new school coaches are probably scared to push buttons like that. So she's amazing, and you're right, man. It's so esoteric that we get to work with legends that other people probably don't get the chance to work with, like with Ivana, man.
So that was going to be my second, the second one of the great acting teachers that you've worked with as well, Ivana Chubbuck. You two have a very great relationship. You've been together for a long time. I'm trying to remember, did you find out about Ivana through me or through other avenues?
When I first, when I first graduated from University of New Orleans, I took a trip to LA. I was like, let me see if I want to move to LA first. And I ordered her class. And I was so scared. I sat in the back. I was like, this is frightening. Like, I've never met a teacher like this. I think it put me off so bad that I was like, I'm gonna go to New York first and do some more theater, or maybe there's a teacher that's less uh I don't want to say mean, but less hard at her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I went
Yeah.
to New York, and then when I came back, I was like, I gotta study with Alvana, right? I got to. So I started taking classes with her understudies, Chris Holder,
Oh,
and then what? I've been training with Alvana like 7 years now. It was I started when I in COVID. I think it was the first year of COVID I started because I was like, I gotta sharpen my craft. And I remember my agents they kind of was like, hey, Derek, like you going to all these auditions, you're not really securing these roles. You need to hop in a class. And that's hard, man, for you for someone to hear that. And I took it on the chin. I took I let my ego down. I was like, you know what, you guys are professionals. You build careers, and you're right. I'm gonna take heed to that information. And I started studying with Ivana. So that's how I originally started to study with Ivana.
what is it about her technique that works for you?
So basically, there's really two type of techniques in this industry. There's imagination and there's substitution. Substitution feels real to me, man. It doesn't feel like acting. It feels like I'm rooted in truth. So basically, people who's watching know what substitution is. You substitute the words on the paper, and also you substitute the scene itself for truthful things that have gone on in your life, whether it's situations, heartbreak, um, adversity, trauma, drama, love, all these things you use to substitute the words on the page. And it works for me, man, because I've been through so much. I lost my mom, I lost my dad. I've been through relationships that ended, not tragically, but with heartbreak. Um, so if you've really been through some things that really can snap you in it, I would say substitution technique that Ivana teaches is the best thing in the world. And Ivana have worked with legends, Brad Pitt, um, um, Halle Berry, Audra Plassie, yourself, Morris Chestnut is working with her now. It's like the list goes on
One
and
and on Charlize Theron.
yeah,
Yeah.
Charlize Theron. I
Yeah.
mean, global Golden Globe winners, Emmy winners, Shia LaBeouf, Oscar winners. The list goes on and on, man. So I was like, I wanted to train with the best, and that's what I did, man. I would not trade Ivana for any other teacher right now. It's her work is truly magnificent.
It really is. I love it too because for me, I'm a very cerebral person and it gives me a lot to think about. It really engages my mind in a way that I need. It gives me, I get to focus this big mind on so many things that it really puts me in the work. So I absolutely love her technique. All right, let's take a break for you to say hi to all of your fans who keep trying to get your attention. They want you to say hi. So
Oh,
say
what
hi
up?
to the
What's
fans
up,
if you don't
fans?
mind.
How you guys doing? Much love, man. Much love to you and your family. How y'all doing?
So one more question about Ivana. Did her technique help you book The Rookie?
I would say, yeah, most definitely. Yeah, yeah. It really did. The scene, my audition scene for the rookie, it was what scene? Oh, it was when I get up and I introduce myself. And I'm like Miles Penn, badge number 653-013, 2-year veteran of the Sugar Land, Texas Police Department. I know all my life I was destined for greatness. So yeah, man, I use her technique in all my work. I was at the coffee shop today with look, got my notepad right here this morning. I got the script for look, big bro, our fans they wait for some spoilers. So I ain't gonna say what episode, but
And don't
I
open the
got
script because they'll
yeah,
screenshot it.
it's right here. I'm keeping it right here. But I got the new script and I was doing some work on the script, man, doing my substitution work, words on the page for something that happened in my real life. And it's just such a magnificent technique that just sprouts to life when you really, really need it the most.
Are you still in the space? And, obviously, I hope the answer is yes. I mean, well, actually, you just answered that because I think sometimes when people book a series regular and get comfortable in a job, they stop doing the work that they would have done prior to booking the role. So obviously, you're still in the space where you are keeping it, you know, uh, you're really working on the material as much as you did when you first started.
Oh yeah. Look, before we started filming the rookie, I was back in acting class.
You were.
I
Yep.
was back in acting class. At my last scene, I did a scene from Heat. Um, and I still go to class and take notes. I was there last week. Um, I'm probably gonna pop in, depending on what time I get off tomorrow. I'll probably pop in tomorrow. And man, I'm always about perfecting the craft. And Ivana, I feel like even when you're not in class, you're taking notes. She give you little nuggets that you can use um, in your work. So that's why I always, if I get off in time, if I'm off on a Wednesday or a Tuesday, I'll go to class. And look, matter of fact, sometimes you can ask one of my class. You know Alex, right? Alex,
Yeah. Yep.
he's in my class, but he teaches Sundays night.
Oh,
He teaches
male
Sunday.
Alex. Okay, guy Alex.
Yeah,
Yes.
guy
Yep.
Alex. So he teaches Sunday night. Sometimes I pop in on Sunday and take notes with the
Okay.
beginners. And I remember one time he was in class and this guy got up unprepared, and he was like, "This, look at Derek. Derek is in Ivana's class. He's a series regular on the show. He's sitting down taking notes. So you're gonna be going up with people like him who are dogs. He don't have to be here. He ain't in a beginner's class taking notes. So it just goes to show you, man. Look, if you're a dog, if you got that lion mentality, man, you gotta work hard for what you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings me to like one of my proudest moments as your mentor, proud of myself, because there's so many things I'm proud of you about. But if I'm just reflecting on myself for a moment, when we took the class together,
Oh yeah,
that was when I felt really like proud of myself because I was like, maybe a lot of people wouldn't do that or would feel like it was somehow, diminishing. But it wasn't. I felt like if anything I want to impart on you, it's that, and anybody, is that school is never over. You're
hmm
never too good to practice. You're never too good to learn. And the next lesson can come from anywhere or anything. So when we sat in that class side by side together, that
yeah.
was really a proud moment for me. Um, what, if anything, have you learned on the job as a series regular that you didn't learn in acting class, if anything?
I'll tell you this: being on the rookie has changed my life, man.
Nice.
I'm so grateful for this opportunity, man. I'm so grateful for our castmates, our crew, our showrunner. Honestly, the most important and most eventful thing that I've learned is how much I appreciate being on this show and how much my hard work has paid off because I feel like I have a home. I don't feel like I'm just a guest that's just a love interest, that's just a side character coming in for a show that's driving the storyline along. I feel like I have a home that I'm supported by amazing actors. Everybody's so phenomenal, man. We get along like a family. So to answer your question, I think the biggest lesson I've learned for being a series regular is hard work pays off. And it's easy to say right now, being on this live, it was not easy to say years ago when I was struggling, delivering food, when I felt like, when is it gonna happen? You know what I mean? But it goes to show you, like, if you really just work hard and you don't give up and you work hard on your craft, let your ego down and say, you know what, maybe I have to get back in acting class to perfect my craft, to get better at auditioning, or get better at the act of acting, to ask for help, to ask for a mentor. These things led up to this. I don't think I would be here if I didn't go through those trials and tribulations and those adversities, or I would have got it and squandered it. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest lesson I've learned, is that I'm grateful, and I wish and I hope and I pray that everybody who's searching for something valuable in this life, as far as goals and aspirations and their success story, will find it. But the only way you're gonna find it if you put the work in. You know, talent, talent and skill, man. There's two different things. You got to sharpen that iron. You got to sharpen that skill. You can be talented, but if you more talented than me, my skill is gonna beat that talent, because I'm gonna work 10 times. I'm gonna be in acting class as a series regular, while you're a series regular just going home to work. You know what I mean? Because I want to be so. I want to look, man. I want to touch greatness, and I feel like I'm just at the very, not bottom, but I'm like in the middle of greatness. But I haven't reached my mountaintop. You feel me?
Absolutely. Please say hi to Laura before she blows a gasket.
What up, Laura? How you doing? I'm sorry,
Laura,
I'm not reading the
we want
comments.
to say hi so bad.
What's going on? What's going on? But
Um,
yeah, man, I love the show. I couldn't ask for a better team, man, and I couldn't ask for better actors to share the screen with.
I'm so incredibly proud of you. You deserve this and so much more. I got to see just up close and personal how hardworking you are, what a positive human being you are. And this couldn't be happening to a more deserving and better person right now. And I wish you this and so much more in your career and your life. And you have given me as much as a mentee as I've given you as a mentor. So thank you so much for asking me to be a part of your life in this way. And I appreciate you so much. I want to close with you talking about your book, Norlands, which
Oh
just
yeah.
came out. Tell us about it and where can people buy it?
Oh man, yeah. It took me 7 years to write this book. It's called Nolans. It's a young adult fantasy, and essentially it's about black wizards in my hometown of New Orleans. The lead character, her name is Donna Marie, which is my late mother's name. So I honor my mother by naming the lead character Donna Marie. And you see the protagonist kind of go through similar situations that I've been through in my life, like losing my father and mom in and out the hospital and in a nursing home. And then she gets invited to this magical school, and it kind of changes the trajectory of her life. And her and her friends have to save the world against the elders of the wizard community. But yeah, so she comes from a high pedigree of wizards, so I think she's gonna be all right. But you can find her on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles.
You've written a whole book.
Bro, a whole book.
Yeah.
I think yeah, we've been doing this since I started that novel. You know what I mean?
What's the reason?
I said you've been knowing me since I've
I have.
had my foot on the gas with that novel.
100%. Yep. I've
Yeah,
seen the old renderings and the pages. So
yeah, yeah.
congratulations on getting that completed. Man, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this conversation will inspire someone to ask someone to be their mentor, and I hope it inspires someone to say yes to being someone's mentor. We've said that it takes, work and maintenance on the
Mhm.
relationship, and but ultimately it's deeply rewarding, and I think it's something that we, not owe to one another, but maybe on some level we slightly do. So, and I know that you're going to do the exact same thing for some other young guy who comes across your path.
Most definitely, most definitely.
Absolutely. Well, God bless you, man. Thank you so much for joining me for this. I appreciate it greatly.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Have a good one. I'll talk to you later.
Peace.
All right, peace.